What's up guys, and welcome back to Tech Planet. Today we're doing another Pothos experiment. I'm going to try and make rooting hormone using Pothos. Let's check it out. Alright, so just to pre-set up this experiment, I've seen a lot of people talk about this. Adding Pothos to propagation jars helps them root quicker, and I've got some theories about that, so I wanted to rule everything out first and just see if Pothos actually puts like rooting hormone into the water. So to start this experiment, I'm just going to root a bunch of Pothos in some water. I'm not going to change it, I'm not going to do anything, and we're going to see if we can extract some rooting hormone. Alright, so skipping ahead an entire month, here we are with our jar of Pothos. They've been rooting in here for a long time, so I would imagine if there's any rooting hormone in this water, there should be quite a bit. You can see that there's a ton of roots coming out of all these cuttings, so there's at least got to be something in here. And if you look at the color of the water, it's pretty evident that I have not changed this in an entire month, and so it's got to be pretty potent. Someone in the comments section of one of my other videos said this is not science, so I got a beaker, so now this is officially science. But I'm going to try and filter out some of the organic media out of this water, just because there's a lot of stuff floating around in there, and I would like to at least start with just water with potential hormones. I don't think we can end up filtering out hormones because they're like more of a chemical thing, so they should go through this coffee filter just fine. But again, I don't want a lot of algae and everything else in here. I want to start sort of fresh. Another complaint I often see in a lot of these Pothos experiments is, why am I using Pothos? A lot of the complaints are it's super easy to root, so I shouldn't use it. So to please you guys, I am going to use something different. We're going to be using some monstera adansonii, and the variation will be laniata. With the claim that Pothos speeds up propagation, people claim that it does so with pretty much any species, so this should be a good test. So I'm just going to chop it up into a bunch of node pieces. We're going to put them in their own separate cups, and that's when we're going to start to make the distinction. So obviously one of these jars is just going to be fresh water, and the other jar is going to be the one with our Pothos water. The jar with the blue marking is going to be regular water, and the one without is going to be our Pothos water. Now we're going to use some eyedroppers to make this science again, so let's start with that. Just kidding, I really just wanted to make some joke as if we're like combining chemicals and my entire house explodes. I've been thinking about this for weeks. So anyways, I'm just going to add all the water in there because there's no point in just doing a few drops, and then we're just going to leave these sit for a while and see what happens. Alright, so 16 days have passed since we put the water and the cuttings in the jar, so let's check out the progress. So let's take a look at the rooting hormone ones first. Looking closely, we can see that there has been some progress. I think about 2 nodes out of the 5 have grown some actual roots, and one of them is pretty substantial. I've also noticed on some of them there is some new growth starting as far as the new vine, so they seem to be doing pretty good. Let's check out just the plain water ones and see what the results are with them. Alright, so right off the bat, there isn't a huge difference. The only difference I could see was that one jar has one more rooting node than the other, but I think we're still pretty early on with this, so we need some more time to really determine if there's a true difference. So let's set this sit for a while and see what happens. Alright, an entire month has passed since we initially put these in the jars. Let's check it out and see what the results are. Looking at the water, you definitely can see a difference. The older water with the supposed rooting hormone is much more green and darker. I believe that is because we already started with really old water, so it must have had minute traces of algae and whatever else, so it seeded it and grew a lot faster, because the right side has much cleaner water. Again, I did not add any water to this experiment, I just let it slowly drain down, and this is a result of that. Looking at the plants from far away, you can see they are pretty similar. Just from this view, I don't really see much of a difference. Alright, we're going to start with the ones that were not in rooting hormone first. You can see there are roots on most of them. Some do still not have roots, but they are rooting. And again, the monstera adansonii sometimes can be a little slower than Pothos, so I wouldn't expect anything too crazy anyways, but they have rooted pretty good and there is new growth. Now let's take a look at the one with the rooting hormone. This will really tell us if there was a difference. Right away I can see some bare nodes in here, and then I can see some that have rooted. Now it's definitely nothing crazy, and I wouldn't declare any sort of victory. I would actually say it's about the same. The difference in rooting is very, very slightly, and I'm just going to attribute that to, I guess, genetics of the actual nodes. It's not enough for me to say that there was some rooting hormone in the water, so that really rules out any long-lasting stuff. Now, this experiment is really just the kickoff of the rest of the experiments around this topic. I'm so curious about this because a lot of people report it, so I have some other ideas on what we can try to prove this, or to see what the proper method to really pull this off would be. I can definitely say for sure that the rooting hormone does not stick around long enough, or there is none at all, because it had almost zero effect on our plants in this experiment. But again, I'm really going to do a lot of other ones, take into account different variables, and I think we'll get to the bottom of this soon. Well guys, that pretty much sums up this video. I was sort of disappointed. I was really expecting to see some amazing results, but clearly that did not happen. So maybe rooting hormone only lasts so long in water? I'm not really sure, but I've got a lot of other experiments lined up, and we're really going to tweak the variables and find out if Pothos really does help root other plants. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and are looking forward to the future experiments. And as always, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I will see you next time.